Drinking and driving, getting your RA pregnant, watching hentai with the door unlocked, there are plenty of ways to ruin your life in college. So here's a story about the biggest screw-up I've ever met, named Jimmy. Jimmy was basically Steve-O without all the fame and money. He was the ultimate attention-seeking who would do anything in front of a crowd. He climbed fire escapes, punched himself in the balls, got suplexed on beer pong tables, anything to get a reaction out of the people. And right before a stunt, he would always yell, "To the moon!" Not sure why, but with Jimmy I learned not to ask questions and just accept the craziness. Anyway, one day I'm hanging out with Jimmy and a few peeps and I start rolling some weed. I made a little line with a credit card and I'm about to put in the blunt when Jimmy says, "How much would you pay me if I snorted that?" And my eyes lit up. I'm like, "For the whole line? I'll borrow you a bottle of Jack Daniels." The problem was I was too excited and Jimmy started to have second thoughts. But I knew Jimmy didn't care about the bottle. He just wanted the attention. So I start chanting, "Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy." And now we're all chanting, "Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy." I see Jimmy crack a little bit of a smile and he says, "To the moon." Then he puts one hand on the side of his nose, bends over and takes a huge rip. Immediately, Jimmy was f***ed up. He's just moaning, "Oh, oh." And I'm dying. Jimmy keeps trying to blow it out, but he put dry plant matter in a wet nasal cavity. It ain't coming out. So he walks into the bathroom, puts his wallet and phone on the counter, and steps right into the shower. Fully clothed, he's just moaning into the shower head. And I don't know who's crying more, Jimmy from pain or me from laughter. Another time I'm hanging out in the dorm with some peeps when Jimmy comes barreling in. He's like, guys, have you ever tried a gravity bong before? We're like, no. He's like, well, I'm about to blow your mind. I need a 2-liter bottle and a bucket filled with water. I'm like, what do you need a bucket for? He's like, no time. Fill up a bucket and find me a 2-liter. So I get some water, but the only 2-liter we had was an unopened bottle of soda. He's like, you gotta empty this first. I'm like, dude, I'm not just gonna pour out a full 2-liter. He's like, fine, and starts chugging it, stopping periodically to burp and moan. He gets through about 90% of it, and I could tell he's in pure agony. So I just pour out the rest. He's like, okay, we're almost there. So he cuts off the bottom of the bottle, burns a hole in the cap, and stuffs it with a bowl. I'm looking at this contraption, having no faith it would work, but as soon as Jimmy lit the bowl, I was mesmerized. Smoke begins to fill the bottle as Jimmy looks at us and says, "To the moon." Then he takes off the cap, inhales, and blows smoke all around the room. Now our dorm is covered in a thick fog, and everyone begins to panic. Jimmy's coughing uncontrollably, and I'm like, guys, what are we gonna do? Hearing all the commotion, the RA comes and knocks on our door. Jimmy, with limited lung capacity, is like, oh tits, I can't get caught. I'm still on probation. So he opens a window, and I'm thinking he's trying to aerate out the place. Nope. He just starts punching the screen till there's enough space to fit through and jumps out. He crashes a story below into a bush and starts wailing. Roommate lets the RA in, who immediately walks to the window to see where all the screaming's coming from. While he was distracted, I sneak out, and as I'm exiting the building, I still remember hearing Jimmy's wails in the distance. Somehow Jimmy doesn't get expelled for this, and a week later I bump into him in the cafeteria. He's got a walking boot on, and before I could even ask about his injuries, he says, "Hey, do you still have that 2-liter? I'm like, the one we cut in half? Yep, I think so. He's like, good, bring it over my place tonight at 8. So I go over Jimmy's place later that evening, thinking he was just gonna make another gravity bong, but it turns out he had grander plans. First, Jimmy takes the 2-liter and starts stuffing the opening with cigarettes. I'm talking like 40 cigarettes. Then he places it on a table next to a beer can, a bowl, and a little line of Coke. I'm like, Jimmy, this might be a little much, even for you. He's like, don't worry, bro. I'll be fine. I'm like, dude, mixing beer, weed, Coke, and cigarettes seems like a really bad idea. He's like, don't forget about peyote. I'm like, peyote? He's like, yeah, I put peyote in one of the cigarettes. You mean the shit that makes you see spirit animals? He's like, yeah, I'm looking to get twisted. I'm like, dude, seriously think about what you're doing for a sec. But before he could respond, people start chanting, Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy. Jimmy, with a huge smile on his face, yells, to the moon! Then he snorts the Coke, takes a hit from the bowl, shotguns the beer, and starts lighting the cigarettes. He gets maybe 2 puffs in before dropping it, coughing violently. Everyone's cheering, and I'm thinking disaster averted. That was until Jimmy started talking in tongues. He's just like, at first we thought he was kidding, but it became clear he was actually losing his mind. I walk over to him to see if he was alright, but he just pushes me aside and bolts out the house. With his walking boot still on, he runs into the street yelling nonsense. People at the party are freaking out, yelling, Jimmy, what are you doing? Eventually a car comes and Jimmy jumps up on the hood. The driver panics and floors it in reverse, causing Jimmy to fall back first onto the concrete. That's when I was like, F this, and called 911. Paramedics come, and as they're taking Jimmy away, I'll never forget what he said to me. So whatever happened to Jimmy? Well, I have good news. He ended up turning his life around and is now a guidance counselor. I'm kidding. He's dead. But some people need a happy ending, you know? He's okay? Oh, thank goodness. You know me, not being able to deal with reality. The funny part was he made a full recovery from this incident and ended up dying from a drunk driver hitting him. Yeah. Talk about irony. But I guess when your entire life is a car crash, it isn't too surprising. Anyway, the lesson you should take from this video is doing reckless things for attention is a recipe for disaster. So if you're struggling with destructive tendencies, it's important to seek help. But if you're gonna do it anyway, then at least have it on film. To the moon, buddy. You know what you want to do. Oh, you want to push that subscribe button. Oh, push the button. Push the button. Who are the worst types of kids in high school? Is it the plastics, also known as basic bitches, armed with a Frappuccino, iPhone, Gucci handbag, and Lululemon yoga pants that makes her ass look way too big? Their ultimate goal is to be a housewife, with a retirement plan of selling their used tissues on OnlyFans. Is it the wannabe influencer, always making TikToks, especially in places they aren't supposed to be filming in? Will always remind you that one video that got 3 million views when they averaged 200 on every other, has given up school and all future job prospects in the hopes of getting railed in an influencer mansion. You're gonna have to take one if you want to make it. I love it when you cry. Is it boys? Born with the perfect jawline, get all their advice from Andrew Tate. Vocab consists of did you smash, bro, and no homo. If they made a tier list, it would be men, house cat, then women. Is it fake depressed people? The people that base their identity on one Billie Eilish song. Self-diagnosed with a mental illness, threatens to kill themselves for attention, can't go to therapy because no one understands them. Compares their life to actual underprivileged people. Spaghetti again, Mom? Jesus, I feel like this is Ukraine. Is it the girl that you're pretty sure is pregnant? You know, the girl that all of a sudden starts wearing a hoodie, even though it's 82 degrees outside? You're not sure if she has a baby bump or if she's been pounding some KFC recently. Is it weebs? Kids who feverishly masturbate to Japanese culture. They insist they've never heard of hentai when we all know they have a topless photo of Starfire in the room. You'll catch these guys Naruto running to class, pretending to use a sword, and humping their Nezuko body pillow during study hall. Is it the Snoop Dogs? Always high on something, speaks in metaphors, relaxed to the point of narcolepsy. You always catch them vaping in places they aren't supposed to. The bathroom, the hallway, girls' locker room. Them titties be fire. Now don't confuse these people with pill heads who started vaping in middle school and have gradually escalated to harder drugs. Weed is like a hand job to them. If it's the only thing offered, they'll take it, but they're really looking for something that'll blow their minds. Is it Miss Daddy issues? Always comes to school with a different hair color, typically has tattoos and piercings, only dates guys who are out of prison or on their way there, and most importantly, willing to do anal by the second date. Is it cops pretending to be students to bust international drug crimes? You know the guys that transfer to your school midway through the year, are clearly in their mid-30s, and always ask, where's the party at? You can tell it's them because they always use outdated slang like this party is dope and you guys don't use horse tranquilizers? Surprise Pikachu face. Is it that one Asian girl? You know the chick that would normally be a 6 but she comes off as a 9 because she seems exotic? Now sure, if you put your hand over her face, she has the body of a 12-year-old boy, but you're Catholic so you're probably into that. Is it the foreign exchange student? Speaking of exotic, now we have someone who doesn't even speak the language. ¿De dónde está el condom? I'm sorry, I don't speak your ooga booga language. Now do you want this green card or not? Is it Elon Musk fanboys? Always saying, no, this billionaire's different. He really cares about me and the environment. Now sure, he barely pays any taxes, accepts government subsidies, and supports political candidates who don't believe in climate change or queers, but that doesn't matter because he's an advocate for free speech. That's why he bans journalists that make critical remarks about him. That's freedom to say, I don't want to hear you speak. Is it the kid that wishes he was black? Wears swag hat, drops the hard R, comes to school with a gun that he barely knows how to use? Billy, no!
Well, shit. At least I got me some prison cred.
Is it the die-hard sports fan? The guy who insults you for liking Star Wars, yet has an entire room dedicated to sweaty men? Sports fanatics basically fantasize about something they're not. A rich, athletic, probably black guy who occasionally smashes an Armenian pig. Is it the two gay kids you keep trying to hook up because they're gay, but they keep telling you just because we're gay doesn't mean we're going to be into each other, but then they eventually hook up at the end of the year? Those queers make me so happy. Is it the wannabe streamer who tends to be male, but occasionally can be a depressed female looking for anything to give her an identity? They like to brag how they're an affiliate earning money, yet every time you turn them on, they just have 3 viewers. Like, bitch, the only one sending you donos is your mom who just wants you out of the house. Is it the school shooter who says ominous things when he's bullied, like, one day you'll be sorry? Doodles pics of him burying classmates. Has a mother who claims her child is an angel and a father who beats him for, quote, looking too queer. Make sure to give this kid some snacks. That way, when he goes postal, he'll have a sweet memory of you. Is it the guy that takes sports way too seriously?
Your ass is mine, Billy!
Chill, Tommy. It's just badminton.
That's what losers say!
Is it the average white boy who wants to kill himself? You know, the kid that doesn't excel in anything and is just in the middle of the pack? Dreams of smashing dimes at his school, but biggest fear is talking to them. Something tells me there's a few of them watching this video right now. And my advice to them would be killing yourself is never the answer. Unless you're under 5'6", then might as well click that restart button. Is it the letter kids? You know, the LGBTQ7 Batman symbol? The ones that always preach tolerance as they bully anyone that disagrees with them. Say Caitlyn Jenner's a hero or I'm flagging all your TikTok content. Is it thoughts? Girls who always sleep around, wear hoop earrings, crop tops, ripped jeans. Vocab primarily consists of saying low-key and dead ass. These chicks are basically spicy hot Cheetos. You'll get the urge to put one in your mouth, but shortly after, you'll be covered in a fiery itch. Is it the ugly girly girl who claims men objectify her, always complaining that men eye rape her when any guy would rather get an extra circumcision than stick it in her bear trap. I'm talking about you, Becky, you fat slut! So there you have it, all the worst kids in high school. Special thanks to Birdie for collabing on this one, and just remember, Ludwig loves it when you beg. Oh, yeah.
You know what you want to do? Oh, you want to push that subscribe button. Oh, push the button. Push the button.
Titties. Big, floppy titties. Whether you're gay, straight, whatever Sam Smith is, everybody loves titties. But how to get your mitts on a pair of fun bags? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 7 steps on how to touch your first boobie. Step number 1. Hide your boner. You see, when you're young, you'll be getting a lot of NRBs, or no reason boner, where you get rock hard even when you're not thinking of anything sexual. And you can't be walking around with a throbbing Dwayne the Cock Johnson. So how to get rid of a stiffy? Well, you could think of your grandma rubbing mayonnaise on her inner thigh, but that's still going to take a minimum of 30 seconds, and you don't got that kind of time. So instead, you're just going to have to use your pants. Just stick your beaver basher up through your waistband and choke that shit like it's Epstein in a prison cell. Step number 2. Try not to be creepy. When you're horny, it's like there's a cloud in your brain and you don't think correctly. As Robin Williams once said, God gave man a penis and a brain, but unfortunately not enough blood flow to run them both at the same time. So try your absolute hardest not to look at their tits. You see, boobs are like the sun. You can only stare at them directly for a few seconds, but if you put on sunglasses, you can stare at them as much as you want. Step number 3. Wardrobe. Even if you look like Post Malone's virgin cousin, a simple, well-fitting outfit can make you look like $1 million, maybe even $1 billion. And even if you're not up to date on the latest fashion trends, I got you covered with some simple go-tos. First, make sure your outfit fits correctly. Baggy shirt may feel comfortable, but it screams you got bigger tits than her. Next, get yourself a pair of white sneakers. Is white the dumbest color a sneaker could be? Of course. But women aren't into practical things like cargo pants or honesty. They're into fake things. And what's faker than pretending you need to use the bathroom just to scrub the puddle stains off your new kicks? Lastly, you need some accessories, whether it's a watch, sunglasses, lowercase T necklace, whatever. Something that makes you stand out in a crowd. Just whatever you do, don't buy designer clothes. Buying a Gucci belt is like saying GG's to your wallet. Step number 4. Approach girls. Easier said than done, I know. But at the end of the day, people always appreciate when you approach them. Shows confidence. You could sit around all day imagining what your life could be like together, or you could grow a pair and start a conversation. Easiest way is just to talk shit. Whether it's talking shit about your surroundings. Is that the new iPhone? Damn, those sweatshop kids work hard. Their appearance. Why do your shoes say all over them? Or talking shit about others. Do you think Mr. Murphy's a pedophile? What? No. Then why did he write D on my paper and ask to see me after class? I think he's gonna try something. Step number 5. Tease. Women love to be teased, but don't go too hard in the paint. Making dead baby jokes right after the miscarriage might come off a little insensitive. Just start small, like if she's wearing cowboy boots, give her the nickname Cowgirl, or if she says something sweet, call her Sugar Tits. Just try to make her feel comfortable. Then move the conversation to be more sexual related. Again, don't start with, what's your thoughts on tossing salad in the morning? Work the conversation there slowly. Then, once you developed a rapport, it's time to move on to step 6. Get them to a different location. This might be the most important step. You need to move from school friend or work friend to just friends. You see, friends can hang out anywhere, and it's a lot easier to make a move in the bleachers rather than on the field. Just try to be casual about it. You don't want it to seem like a date. Again, women don't want honesty. They want plausible deniability in case it doesn't go well. What? I just thought he was being nice walking me to my car. Okay, I guess we're kissing now. Step number 7. Initiate physical contact. And no, I'm not talking about a surprise titty grab. Do something cute like grabbing her hand while walking through a crowd, or show off your fingering skills by having a thumb war. Once the physical barrier is broken, it'll make her feel more comfortable with you and increase the chances of intimacy. Either that, or she'll file sexual assault charges against you, ruining your reputation and any future job prospects. It's a gamble, I know, but remember, you're always one laugh away from either motorboating or being charged with groping. So those are my tips on how to honk your first pair of fun bags. Probably weren't the tips you were expecting, but they're the tips you deserve. And just remember, even if she says no, you still have options. Kidnapping? What? No, paying for it.
You know what you want to do? Oh, you want to push that subscribe button. Oh, push the button. Push the button.
Trampolines, driving naked, owning a tank. Shockingly, all these things are legal. So here's a list of 5 things that should totally be illegal. Number 1, selling caffeine to children. Everyone loves drugs, especially children. And no one knows this better than Logan Paul. When he's not promoting crypto scams, Logan can be seen advertising his drink, Prime Hydration. Each 12-ounce can of Prime has 200 milligrams of caffeine. 200! To put that in perspective, that's 6 times the amount in a can of Coke. Fucking Red Bull only has 114
milligrams.
And this guy is allowed to advertise it to children. to children. What does a child even need caffeine for? They can already wake up at 7 a.m. without having the desire to kill their girlfriend. And everyone knows caffeine is both addictive and has withdrawal symptoms. Yet, every scooter mom in Walmart keeps buying it for their kids who idolize someone that dry humps people for a living. I can't wait for Logan's next investment, crystal meth cupcakes. Dude is gonna make a killing at the church bake sale. Number 2, child beauty pageants, also known as OnlyFans for pedophiles. For someone who's grown up with the internet, it takes a lot to disgust me, but toddlers and tiaras does it every time. How is putting a push-up bra on a child not fucking illegal? Seriously, how are these parents rewarded for committing crimes against humanity? This show should rebrand itself as Surprise CPS, where as soon as a parent forces their child into booty shorts, surprise, CPS shows up. I don't even know who the most evil is here. Is it the network for making advertisements of children twerking? Is it the audience who are definitely predators playing pocket pool? Or is it the judges who are scoring the best striptease competition when it's clear the only number they want to give out is their own? Number 3, tax exemptions for churches. How many little boys need to get bediddled before we shut down churches? Approximately 5% of all priests are accused of molesting children. If there was a 5% chance you get molested in Target, you think twice about getting that Pikachu hoodie. Now, I'm not saying you can't be Christian or Catholic or any other wrong religion. I'm just saying Catholic churches seem to be breeding grounds for pedophiles. Who would have guessed telling a guy he can't have sex then putting him alone in a room with little boys would go off the rails? And if you're a pedo looking for a job, why would you not want to be a priest? You're left alone with impressionable young men, there doesn't seem to be any background checks, and your supervisor never shows up to work. But ignoring all the separation of church and state, why are we giving taxpayer money to the vault police? Is it because some of them are charities? Because the only donation I see is the one Father Cunningham keeps giving to little Billy. Number 4, infant circumcision. Why do people still do this? Google tells me it can help reduce bacteria underneath your foreskin, but you know what else can help reduce bacteria? Basic hygiene! How does slicing your Johnson even get started? Like, I've seen some terrible TikTok trends, but this takes the cake. Sex is the best thing that can happen to a guy. That's why a threesome is on every guy's bucket list. Because the only thing better than having sex with one person is having sex with 2 people. So why would you roll the dice and snip the only thing giving you dopamine? Because you're one handshake away from your parents changing your name from Steve to Stacy. Number 5, bribery. I'm sorry, I meant to say lobbying. In America, money can buy anything. A nice car, a girlfriend with no gag reflex, and almost any law you want. You see, giving a congressman money and saying, make me a law that helps my company and fucks the working man, is illegal. But funding their re-election campaign, totally legal. Companies aren't buying legislation. They're just giving thousands of dollars because tits, why are they giving thousands of dollars? I guess out of the kindness of their heart? The point is, it's not related. Also completely unrelated, this video is sponsored by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, where life-saving medication is only a phone call away. Unless you're poor, then sorry moocher, it's the casket for you. Number 6, dumb people having children. How is there no IQ test in order to have children? You need to take a test to drive a car, but not to raise a child? How does that make sense? I'm pretty sure I could do more damage with a kid I never hug, rather than my Prius. There should at least be an interview process where someone looks over your finances and talks to your friends. Hey, where do you think the over-under is that Paul bediddles kids? Besides, there's already enough stupid people in the world. We don't need your special needs ass popping out more. Let's agree there should at least be a limit. There's a show on TLC called Doubling Down Derricos where a couple has 14 kids. 14! That bitch is probably sounds like a windbreaker flapping in the winds. You can't be a good parent to 5 kids, let alone 14. I hope one of them grows up to be a carpenter. That way they can staple their mom's pussy shut. Number 7, paparazzi. Stalking people is illegal. Unless you're a celebrity, then it's cool. They have more money than us. Don't even view them as people. But nowadays, what even is a celebrity? Everyone makes content. Who isn't making videos exploiting their dog, their kids, or their for views? So can you just stalk anyone with a social media account? If so, I'm ready to take down my curtains and show you a helicopter disaster worse than the one that killed Kobe. So those are 7 things that should totally be illegal. If I missed any, please let me know down in the comments. And just remember, Logan Paul sells drugs to kids.
You know what you want to do. Oh, you want to push that subscribe button. Oh, push the button. Push the button.